Shalom, everyone, and welcome to Coffee and Connection Week 193. I cannot believe that we are at that number, and we are rounding out our fifth year of doing Coffee and Connection. The summer episodes are always some of my favorites because I think we really get into a lot of the dynamics of dealing with our own selves and all the stuff that comes up around, just family time and kids around. Or as we talked about last week, maybe sometimes your kids aren't home and that can bring up its own dynamics. But there's usually like a bit of a more of an intensity feeling just around like the family and maybe the expectations of family, right? People have that family time or they think it's like going to be a vacation, but I've talked a lot about that idea, or like spending more time together or having more of an expectation of a certain experience, right? There's a lot of visiting days going on now. So, we can have a lot of expectations on ourselves around this time of year and on like what we think a family should be or what we as women and wives and mothers, maybe what we should be doing. And I think that's why I was very called to like answer this question today that was sent to me recently when I asked for just, get some ideas of what's coming up for you all um at this time. What kind of issues are you looking for clarity on? And the question of like, what about when like I just don't feel like doing anything? I mean, I have all these dreams, I have all these desires of things that I want to accomplish, and yet I just feel like inertia. I feel like I just can't get moving. How do we handle that? And there's a lot of different coaching that's given on this in the coaching space, especially because so much of coaching is about helping people get motivated to achieve their goals. And you hear a lot of advice given, especially about like identify your why, know why you want to do it. I think I'm not against that. I think that that can be very important when you have a goal that you want to work towards to have clarity on why it's important to you. I think sometimes the reason that that's so important to do is because you also want to make sure, is it important to me? Or is it just something everyone else is doing? Or I'm telling myself it should be important, but maybe it doesn't feel so important to me. And if it is important to me, why is it important to me? So that I feel motivated and I feel, I have my intentions aligned. I have I'm clear on my values. I'm clear on why this is important. The problem is when in the situations that come up, like the woman was asking about that I can also relate to, when you're just not feeling it, right? When you're in a moment of either not feeling like it or in a moment of like, oh, I just don't want to do this, right? Or, oh, I just want to do this thing, which is against the goal that I myself say that I want to have. Your big why may not be enough, right? Because in that moment, there's something else driving you that feels more important, whether it's a drive to sit and do nothing, or a drive to do the thing that you're telling yourself you don't want to do, or the drive to do something else that seems to go against that goal that you have. And that's why I think that the first question, the first thing that we can really get curious with is really just getting curious with ourselves. Like, okay, so what's coming up for me, right? If we're feeling inertia, if we're feeling like we can't get motivated or we can't seem to really do the thing we keep telling ourselves we want to do. And again, that could be something I want to do, something I don't want to do. It's still the thing you want to do. Just that might be a negative. So, okay. So I think the first thing to really do is get curious with ourselves. Like, what's coming up for me? What's coming up for me? What is going on for me? What is happening in this moment? Even if as we're thinking that, we're like observing ourselves. Okay. So I saw this morning, I was like, it wasn't as early as I wanted it to be, but my kids went off, the ones who went to Cheder, right? The ones who are not in summer break. And I was like, okay, I should get up and do something. And I just didn't. I was just sitting on the couch. I was just looking at something. I was looking over something and I didn't, I was like, what am I doing? I don't know. And rather than saying like beating myself up or feeling like I have to push myself. I kind of tuned in for a moment, and my husband asked me, help me, because he was like, "What's going on? What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know." And I checked in with myself, and I realized, you know what? I'm really tired. Like I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling like I don't have the energy that I want. So I just noticed that. I noticed it and I didn't make myself wrong for it. I didn't make myself bad for it. I didn't make it mean. Like I just noticed I'm tired. I'm tired. I don't have the energy that I need to get up and do the thing that I really was planning and hoping to do this morning. I was just tired. And sometimes, we have to tune in with ourselves and realize what's going on. There's usually going to be something, right? And where we could be so quick to judge ourselves and beat ourselves up and shame on ourselves and guilt ourselves. You should be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. What's coming up? Oh, come on, but not coming up like what's coming up in a curious way, but more in a judgmental way. That's such an opportune moment to make that shift that I talk about all the time, right? This is like the key to connection, not just with other people, not just with our husbands and our children, but with ourselves. To tune in and go what's going on? What's this about? Am I tired? Am I hungry? Am I lonely? Am I overwhelmed with something? Am I afraid of something? Am I stuck in some type of limiting belief? Do I really want to do that thing? Am I just not feeling it right now? We get to tune in and learn about ourselves. We get to tune in and really get curious what's going on for me? And you may notice a few things. You may notice there's something physically going on. Like I said, this morning I was just tired. That was one point of my morning when I was thinking about this topic. I was just tired. I just needed some time to chill. I needed some time to feel rested. And this comes up a lot, especially in this time. I've spoken to a few women over the last few weeks who are like, wow, finally have some time for myself and I just don't feel like doing anything. I finally have some time to myself and I was supposed to go away and I got sick. I was supposed to, I finally have some time to myself and all of a sudden I have all this other stuff coming up that I need to take care of. Sometimes what happens when we have some time to ourselves is part of our brain is going, we're supposed to be busy, 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 right? That's kind of like there's this mindset of we have to be in the go, the hustle culture that's around us, right? The busyness culture that's around us. It's like the biggest answer to questions like, how are you doing? What's going on? What's the answer? Everyone always says busy. There's this busyness culture, this hustle culture, as if we're always supposed to be busy and we always have to be doing something. And sometimes we check in with ourselves physically and we realize, you know what? I need this time to chill. I need this time to relax. I need this time to replenish. I need this time to recharge. That's okay. We need that time too. We need to make sure we're taking care of ourselves. If we're always pushing, 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 go, 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 you know what usually happens? Our body goes, I'm going to make sure you take some time to recharge, right? We, suddenly get a bad cold. We suddenly have, we're exhausted. We're suddenly we end up, please God, nothing horrible, right? We just our body needs to recharge. We need to give ourselves that love and understanding that we can't just be go, go, go all the time. And tuning in physically can give us that gift of you know what? I'm just tired. Or you know what? I'm hungry. You know what? I'm thirsty. You know what? I feel like I need to move my body. You know what? I'm craving emotional, physical connection. If there's something that we're feeling we need, we're feeling something we want, to acknowledge that, learn that about ourselves. You know what? I don't think I ate enough today, and that's why I'm feeling cranky or snacky, or that's why I don't have energy. It could very well be that, oh, I didn't drink any water today. Oh, I didn't really eat properly today. Oh, I didn't sleep last night. I forgot, right? That's why I'm so tired. We get to check in physically with ourselves. We also get to check in what's going on with me? What is it that I really what's coming up for me? I think that's the other question we can ask. There was something else I was working on today. I'm working on a bit of a project. I'll keep you all posted as it gets closer. Please God, I'm working on a project. I'm very, very excited about it. And as I'm working on it, I keep finding myself feeling a little bit resistant of certain pieces. Like when I need to actually, I'm very good at learning things. And then when I need to go ahead and put something into effect, when I need to actually do something, I noticed there was a part of me that kept resisting that. I was like, what is this? Why do I keep feeling like resistant to actually doing what I need to, like the action I need to take. And I realized I had to check in. Again, we can only do this. We can only figure out what's going on if we tune into ourselves. If we're just go, 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 I would have just gone on to the next learning piece. I would have just gone on to the next, like, part of the puzzle without actually stopping and getting done the part that I was resisting, unless I actually tuned in and was like, what's coming up for you, Hannah? Like, what is this about? And I realized, oh, I have a fear. I have a fear I'm going to mess it up, or I have a fear I can't do this. I have a fear I can't do it well enough. And I got to question that fear. I got to remind myself, you know what? I'm going to do my best and it's going to be awesome. Or if I mess it up, I get to do it again. I get to fix it. I get to work on it. It's what, and then I can also notice, am I expecting myself to get it perfect the first time? Am I expecting myself to always know exactly what to do? We get to tune in to our stories. Am I expecting to be able to always hustle? Am I expecting myself to always, right, just tune into like our fears? Am I afraid I'm going to make a mistake? Am I afraid that no one's going to like it? Am I afraid that someone's going to get upset at me? Right? Like when you're finding yourself struggling to move to do the thing you want to do, tune in. What is the like the not logical, what is the like cognitive piece here? What is the sometimes it's an emotional piece, right? What is the fear? What is the limiting belief that's holding me back in this moment? Right? And again, unless we take that moment to reflect on it, and unless we take that moment to get curious with it, we're just going to either pass over it, right? And ignore it, which means we can't learn from it, we can't work through it, or we're just going to guilt or shame ourselves for just sitting there feeling like we can't do it. And then we don't get to learn, right? Again, that part of us that says, I have to constantly be moving, 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 doesn't allow ourselves to tune into what's going on so that I can deal with it, so that I can move forward. Again, whether that's a physical thing, whether that's an emotional, cognitive thing, could be a lost gift that Hashem gave us. 100%. I so love that. So we can also tune in spiritually, right? Spiritually, we can tune in. I love this idea of like realizing. I remember years ago when I first like I moved to like this new neighborhood, and it's not a new neighborhood, but it was a new neighborhood for me. And I started because it was like the first time in a long time that I was really in a community, because we've kind of been living on our own for about 3 years up to that point, like just like living places to like be part of student activities. And suddenly we were back in a community, and I was kind of like seeing myself compared to other families and seeing myself compared to other homes and other moms. And there was a part of me that was feeling like really clear on some of my challenges, right? Certainly clear on the way that, where I was struggling, that it didn't seem like they were. And part of me started feeling like very down on myself about it. Like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get it together? Why can't I figure this out? Of course, everyone has their own challenges. Everyone has their own stuff that they're dealing with. Everyone has their different like what's the word? Like things that they're focused on and their life situation. But I didn't have the wise, ability to acknowledge all of that. And then at one point, I was like, after like being kind of really hard on myself for a while, I had this like epiphany. And I was like, wait a second. If right now this is what I'm struggling with, I'm struggling to like feel like I have my home like my home put together in a way. Like I'm struggling to feel like, wow, I can get ready for Shabbos and feel calm about it. You know what? Instead of telling myself, what's wrong with me? Why do I have to be struggling this way? Mind you, I had two little kids. I was very young. I had never had experience making Shabbos until I got married. I was getting ready for like guests and just a lot of stuff going on. And I was just beating myself up about it. And then I suddenly had this, like I said, this epiphany that I was in this place that I could be like, you know what? If this is where I'm struggling, if this for now is hard for me, that just means that right now, this is like my avoda. This is what I need to work on. As Simple as that. And I say simple, simple not necessarily easy, but this is something I work a lot with on my with my mastery clients, like really recognizing this idea that so often when we come up against a struggle, we come up against something that's hard for us, it's so easy to be like, oh, why don't I know this? Why can't I figure this out? I can't believe I made this mistake and beat ourselves up for it. Instead of realizing, oh, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. This is my struggle. This is what Hashem wants me to be working on. That's why it's so hard right now, because it's in order for it to be very clear that this is where I'm meant to put in my effort, right? And when we're struggling in a way, when we're feeling like I can't move forward, we feel that inertia that you were describing. What I invite you to consider is like check in with yourself spiritually, right? And this comes along with the physical and the emotional and the, cognitive check-in is like, okay, how does this fit into my spiritual journey? Is this something that is hard for me? And so this is something I get to overcome. It's like a Yetzer Hara for me. It's something that I'm feeling held back. Is it something that I have something like a resistance I need to deal with? Is it something that's calling me forward to like the next level? So, of course, it's going to involve some growing pains. It's going to involve some challenge, right? And recognizing that challenge doesn't make it wrong. Challenge doesn't make it bad. We live in like whether you want to call it like the Instagram age or like even the magazines, like the Jewish magazines portray this like everything's supposed to be easy and beautiful and it's supposed to be like flawless and what's the word like energyless. I don't know what the right term is. Like it's just, life is just supposed to be like picture perfect without realizing that that's the reality, not the reality. Reality is effort. Reality is, and I don't mean that everything has to be hard. I mean that reality is that the way we grow, the way we move forward in life is by exerting ourselves, is by overcoming part of ourselves. So, yes, that may mean that sometimes we're not ready to do something, or we have to. When we acknowledge, you know what, this is a little hard for me to do. I do have to overcome a fear. I do have to go outside my comfort zone. I do have to do something that's not so easy for me to do, that can actually give us the strength to do it. Because instead of going, "Oh, but it's so hard, forget it," or it's so, what do I hear a lot of women say? Things like, "Oh, it's so hard. I guess I'm not supposed to do it." Right? I remember I had such a like shift in thought about this when like, we all, I don't know, I know I've had this and I hear it a lot from women. If like something's really like you're having trouble getting something together, your brain could go, I guess I'm not meant to do this. So I was trying to record an interview for one of the With All Your Heart series. I think it was about 3 years ago. I don't remember who it was. I apologize. If the woman who it was with remembers this and you hear this interview, please let me know so I can quote you. But we were trying to record the interview, and every time we tried to record it, like it wasn't working. There was like there was no I tried to call her and the phone wasn't going through, and then we were trying to use Zoom maybe, and it was this, by the way, is why I never do them over Zoom because it involves so much more tech that can go wrong. But we were every time like the internet wasn't working, the phone line wasn't working, our emails like, and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, maybe I'm not supposed to do this interview. Oh my gosh, what am I going to say wrong? Oh my goodness, what? And she got on and she goes, "Oh, there's so much good that's going to come from this interview that all the negative forces are trying to like stop it from happening. I'm so excited to hear like where we're going to take this." And I was like, I love that attitude. That's amazing. And notice how we can get so caught up in like, oh my gosh, I guess I'm not meant to do this when we're struggling, right? How often have we had that thought when something's hard, when we can't get through to someone, when it feels difficult to do something? I guess I'm not supposed to do this, as if struggle, as if energy needing to put in, as if exertion means that it's not supposed to be this way. It must be bad. It must be wrong. Rather than being able to have a perspective of, well, of course it's going to feel challenging because anytime we do try to do something different, there's going to be a challenge to it. different is always going to feel strange. We always have to remember that. Anytime we try to change something about ourselves, it's going to be hard, right? Even the Jewish people in the Midbar who were trying to take on the Torah, of course, we know that was a good thing. It involved change, which created challenge. And every stage, right, of our history as we grew and as we get to the next, even the higher spiritual stage, created challenge because we need to go above and beyond our nature. We need to do something different, and the brain freaks out about different, right? So that's important to remember. And also that it may be that we're overcoming something about ourselves. And yet, I'm going to circle back now also to the beginning that when it's difficult and when we find ourselves struggling, that's why we have to check in. Wait, which is it? And because it's not black and white. Sometimes it's, you know what? This isn't the right day or the right time, or maybe I just need a little more sleep beforehand, or I need to give myself the permission to not do this right now. And sometimes it's going to be, wait, what's stopping me? And sometimes it's going to be recognizing, wait, okay, yes, I'm going to have to overcome a part of myself to be able to do that. To be able to do this, I'm going to have to break through that's why it's called a breakthrough, right? I'm going to have to break through some type of fear or limiting belief or some type of pattern, some type of just routine that I'm in with myself, a habit. And I'm going to have to take effort to make it happen. But all of those could be true at the same time, right? And that's what makes life so interesting and challenging. It would be so nice if we could just say, it's this, right? It's always going to be A or it's always C. And that is why it's so important to check in with ourselves, be in tune with ourselves, be able to get in touch with our emotions, with our desires, with our thoughts, with our, what comes up for us, with our thought patterns, our stories, our fears, our limiting beliefs. That's why it's so important to be mindful of these ideas. That's why I am so passionate about teaching women how to be able to tune into those things, how to really work through a process to be able to get in touch with themselves so that when these challenges come up, you can start to ask yourself these questions and be real with yourself about which of these three and of perhaps more than one or two or three of them may be coming up for you. So I hope that this was helpful and helps you get moving or not moving, right? Depending on where you tune in with yourself, where you see that you are, and what you see that you need. As always, be kind to yourself. Remind yourself that you're doing your best and your best is awesome. And while at the same time that we get to be loving and understanding of ourselves, sometimes that means giving ourselves space to rest. And sometimes that means challenging ourselves to move forward and become even more the woman that we want to be. Because we all have so much, that we want to give and we want to do. And in order to do that, we need to be loving and kind and in tune with ourselves so that we can bring forth so much beautiful light into the world. So, thank you, everyone. I hope that you are enjoying your summer. I hope if you have questions or thoughts, of course, you're welcome to be in touch. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Please, God, until then, may we all be blessed to live, love, and be loved with all our hearts. Goodbye for now.